Okay, so that's how we're going to end this story. Alright. You know, as much as I've enjoyed the four-part story of Batman, the Flash, the Button, I've come to a realization as I've read this comic. Nothing really happens. Nothing of gigantic value, and this final part proves it. Oh, sure, I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been some really cool things in this comic involving, both Batman and the Flash, respectively. There's some really cool stuff going on. But in the end, it kind of serves as just a prologue to the Doomsday Clock comic coming out in in fall. So really, that's kind of what it was, is that it's one big build-up to a new comic. And yeah, like I said, did I enjoy this comic on a whole? Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so I guess that's how we're ending it, alright. Anyway, so without further ado, let's talk about Batman the Flash, the Button, Part 4. So yeah, as we left off last time, what happened was that as Batman and Flash were traversing the time stream back to their universe after the Flashpoint universe was destroyed, they run across Thawne, who is running towards another point in time. And Barry is like, oh god, we cannot let him go, because he's either going to die or he's going to just fuck up my life more. So as they're trying to get Thawne, Thawne is just going off his rails, like, I'll be your daddy! I'm gonna go back in time to be a social worker and you'll be my acolyte. And I'm like, man, Thawne has just lost his shit. Because now that he has the button, he knows what this thing is going to look like. Who the owner of the button, and he's going to figure it out. So, unfortunately, the cosmic treadmill breaks apart, and Batman and Barry are tossed back into their own timeline, are being tossed throughout time. Meanwhile, Reverse Flash runs to the point where the quote-unquote God is hiding, and yeah, that's where we see him in Part 1, of him being horribly murdered. So, yeah. Meanwhile, as Batman and Barry are going to be about to be torn apart by the time stream, boom! In comes Jay Garrick, and not Earth 2... not from the Earth 2 comic that was coming out. This is the original. This is original pre-52 Jay Garrick coming out, which would be Earth 2, but still it's slippery slope. But whatever. So yeah, Jay Garrick is back, the RJ Garrick, and I forgot to mention in the previous comic, in the previous second part, that he remembered Barry remembered the Mercury helmet, and now Barry and Batman are saved by Jay, but like Wally, how Wally was, the unfortunate side effect is that, like Wally, Jay is trapped in the time stream because whatever changed the time stream has trapped him, and he wants Barry to remember his name. But unfortunately, unlike Wally, Barry just can't think of his name, and Jay is pulled back into the time stream. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, it's nice to know that Jay is still there. Also, other things I've been forgetting was that we did get to see Johnny Thunder. That was another character in the third part. That's another JSA character. So yeah, it looks like, the original JSA is coming back, and I'm so hyped for that. To see Jay Garrick back, RJ, but it was really sad to see him get thrown back, unlike Wally. I was like, just say Jay, Barry! Just say Jay, goddammit! He just said it! Yeah, it's nice to know that the JSA are coming back, same with the Legion, and with Jeff Johns writing this, the major fanboy of both Legion and JSA, I'm content with that. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, at the end of it, we also have the thing of, they're pretty much like, look, we didn't learn jack shit, and it looks like our only prime suspect is God that changed the timeline. So, case not closed, it's going to be opened. And Bruce goes back to Gotham, and he just hangs his head low, and he's like, I'm not, he's remembering what his father said to him, and he's just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Wow. And then we find out from the person who did alter the timeline, saying that, the reason I created the Flashpoint, I left the Flashpoint universe alive as long as I did, was to create a seed of doubt for Bruce, just to continuously fuck with them. So yeah, and yes, it is confirmed that the one who did change the timeline was in fact Dr. Manhattan. It is a confirmation. I think we all kind of knew it, but I was kind of hoping that Dr. Manhattan had a hand in it. I was kind of hoping for, like, something a bit bigger, like it was Superboy Prime, because when you think about it, Superboy Prime would have been a prime suspect. I'm so proud of that pun, you can't stop me. But when you think about it, yeah, it's cool that, yeah, it's something that we've all kind of figured was a thing of Dr. Manhattan being the one behind all this. But yeah, the main thing and I was kind of going with that theory of if it was Superboy Prime, with Dr. Manhattan having a hand in it, but let me explain. Because it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Superboy Prime always hated, how these heroes were all good and happy, and, he was always miserable, and his Earth was destroyed by the Anti-Monitor. And it would have made a lot of sense of him finding some way to go back and alter everything. Remember the Source Wall? Remember when he just, One Punch Man the Source Wall? Yeah, so this wouldn't be too far away from it. But yeah, am I content, I know Superboy Prime's not a big character on everyone's favorite list, but I think it would have made sense at the same time, and maybe he stole someone said, suggested maybe he stole Dr. Manhattan's powers or used him to create it. That would have been cool too, but to have Dr. Manhattan be the one to be the major suspect behind, the prime suspect, again, I'm using that pun, but this time it's not intended, to be the real one behind it, I'm okay with it, because we all kind of figured after Rebirth, it was like, yeah, after seeing Dr. Manhattan, but I was kind of hoping that maybe there was more to it, rather than just being Dr. Manhattan, you know what I mean? I was kind of hoping for more to it. And maybe there is. Maybe they'll reveal more stuff in Doomsday Clock, but we have to wait all the way to what was it, November, I think? It's sometime in fall, but I want to say November. So, yeah. All in all, there's some cool stuff in this comic, in this 4-part story, and it was a fun time, but at the same time, I'm like, that's it? That's how we're ending it, with no real answers, with no real questions answered, and it's just a prequel to a comic that's coming out months later? Really? That's how we're doing this? Okay. And yeah, like I said, there was some really cool stuff in here, but at the same time, I'm like, really? This is where we're leaving off? This is where you leave us? Alright, see you in Doomsday Clock. Hope it's worth it. That's all I'm saying. I hope it's worth it. So yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of the final part of Batman the Flash, the Button? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Also, are you guys okay with it being officially Dr. Manhattan, or were you hoping for more? And what are your guys' thoughts on the Doomsday Clock? Once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.